soon, hopefully.
Oof, boy.
Sooner rather than later.
So let's talk about the Big Ten. Let's say Ohio State and Michigan. Well, we know Michigan's down for sure. Ohio State, I think the jury's still out. But let's start with the Buckeyes. There's some guy that almost came to Michigan, Terrell Pryor. Maybe you heard about him. Yeah, I never heard of him until last week or something. But I mean, he's got to play more, right? I mean, if their offense is so anemic, you're going to see Ohio State look more and more like the Rich Rod offense that we have been seeing the past couple games.
Well, I mean, we've seen him get involved in every single game. I mean, I don't think at this point it'd be such a terrible thing to actually see him get more and more snaps at quarterback. I mean, granted, they do have the experience, quarterback in Beckman, but definitely think Pryor deserves, more chances to get the ball in his hands and make plays because that's what, he was brought to do. He was recruited to do that, and we would have loved to have him do it here, but I forgot his name by now anyway.
Yeah.
Well, and you look around the conference, and that's what we're going to be talking about here. I mean, who the favorite is. Wisconsin went on the road, big win against Fresno State, 13-10. But look at the quarterbacks. I mean, so you have Terrell Pryor, right? You have Stephen Threet, who everyone wishes was a mobile quarterback. I mean, you have Brian Hoyer, who's more mobile in and of himself. Kellen Lewis, Juice Williams. Is this the SEC? What conference is this now? Everyone's going to these mobile quarterbacks. But so in light of that, in light of Wisconsin's big win on the road, and it was a big win, I think Fresno State's a respectable opponent. And in light of Ohio State proving that they're not a national championship contender, who is the favorite in the Big Ten, Caitlin?
I really like Penn State. I think that they, under Joe Paterno, have a solid, consistent offensive and defensive scheme that everybody understands. They've got a lot of returning veterans. Their linebacking core on defense is stellar. Normally is stellar, but they've proven that they've been able to keep it up this year. I just think the consistency will benefit them, and so far they've been able to win and win in a good-looking fashion. They haven't looked like other teams where they're still working out kinks. They've looked like they've come to play and they've done a nice job, and they're leading statistical categories right now in the Big Ten as a result of that.
Yeah, I mean, a big win against Oregon State, and again, I mean, that's a BCS opponent. I mean, it wasn't Happy Valley, but I mean, what are your thoughts on Penn State, Andy?
I mean, I think Penn State's a solid team. I don't think anybody is going to see them coming out on top of the Big Ten. My opinion is going to be Wisconsin. They did have that big win over, Fresno State. They looked pretty good. I game out on the West Coast. That's hard to do, to go all the way over there. You're traveling 3 time zones. It's something that definitely I think they proved something doing that. Wisconsin's
schedule is really so challenging. I think we'll be able to tell in the next couple of weeks whether they'll be successful. I mean, they go Michigan, and then Ohio State and Penn State back to back to back. And when you do that, I mean, if you're playing what are considered or supposed to be the 3 toughest teams in the Big Ten 3 weeks in a row, you're going to find out in a hurry whether or not you have it to stay on top of the conference.
All right, so Penn State is the consensus pick?
Well, I didn't say Penn State. I said Wisconsin.
Okay.
And I mean, I think you definitely have dark horses. You have Illinois and even MSU. I think they have Javon Ringer, 282 yards on Saturday. Definitely something that could, help them in the long run in the Big Ten.
And what about Illinois and Indiana? Both could play spoiler. I don't know. I mean, both those teams have the potential to bust out, I believe, anyway. All right, well, let's move on to the national scene here. Let's talk about, every week we're telling you the 4 biggest games to watch, starting off with Florida-Tennessee. Traditionally, a really, really good game of 2 highly rated teams. Of course, Florida is one of those highly rated teams this year. Tennessee, not looking so hot. Philip Fulmer just signed a contract extension. I mean, the hot seat doesn't exist for him, I guess.
Yeah, I'm looking for Florida to just, I don't know if pummel is the correct word, but I think that they will. Yeah, I think that they will beat soundly the Volunteers. Percy Harvin's coming back. He's going to be healthy for just about the first time this season. You still have your Heisman Trophy defending quarterback who's been very successful leading this team on offense. Florida, I don't think they should have any problems even being on the road.
Even in Knoxville.
I mean, I agree 100% with Caitlin here. We saw that Tennessee-UCLA game a couple weeks ago. Everyone thought it was such a good game. BYU beat them by 56 points. So, anyway.
All right, well, how about those Fighting Irish and another team not too far, about an hour commute, Michigan State Spartans. It's going to be another game in South Bend. Andy, who's going to take home the W?
I'm pretty excited for this game, actually. I grew up a Michigan fan, obviously. But, I like to see MSU do well, generally. And I'm really excited for Javon Ringer. I think we're going to see him tear up Notre Dame. After you saw what Sam McGuffey did, I think Javon Ringer is going for 200. I'll make that call right now.
Is little brother going to beat up?
I think little brother will take care of business in South Bend. Notre Dame, obviously, like we said, we beat ourselves, or Michigan beat themselves, and Notre Dame did not beat us. Michigan So as a result of that, I think that Michigan State, if they can hang on to the football, unlike the Wolverines, they'll take care of business in South Bend.
All right, moving right along, LSU-Auburn, always a great game. Auburn struggled to a 3-2 win last week against Mississippi State. 3-2. I mean, I don't even – what sport is that, baseball? I mean, so who's going to take it home? LSU's a big favorite, obviously.
I'm going with LSU. Their running game has been stellar thus far. They put up 41 points in their first 2 games of the season each time. That's some serious offensive production. LSU all the way.
LSU, no question about it. Then finally, Georgia going to Arizona State, traveling out west for the first time in 30 years. They crossed the Mississippi. Is Georgia still the favorite after struggling last week?
Yeah, I definitely think Georgia is the favorite. I mean, South Carolina's a better team than you think. They still have, Steve Spurrier on their staff. So.
And Arizona State lost to UNLV last week. All right, well, that does it for the national scene. We're going to preview Wisconsin and Michigan coming up next on Varsity Blue. Welcome back to Varsity Blue. Let's get right into it because we're going to take a bye week next week along with the Michigan football team. Number 8 Wisconsin is going to roll into town all the way from Madison. They pulled out that tough win against Fresno State last week. So let's just get right into it. When we have the ball, what do we expect? Wisconsin's defense last year, not so great, but they bring back 9 returning starters, 6 seniors on that defense.
Well, I think you're going to look for Michigan to rush the ball a lot again because they had so much success with Sam McGuffey and their new kind of spread offense, which does require a lot of rushing. And Wisconsin has improved drastically. They're 4th in the Big Ten right now in rushing defense, so it's really going to be a clash of the Titans right now. When Michigan has the ball on offense, they're going to the offensive line, that young offensive line, is really going to have to open those holes and be physical in order to get Sam McGuffey and some of those other guys in the backfield, the carries and the space they need to get Michigan on the board.
I really think it's going to be an offensive showing. I agree. We're going to see, a lot of running. I believe Sam McGuffey, I think he'll go for, another 100, hopefully. Definitely, you'll see the Wolverines. I think the offensive line will open up some holes, and the D-line should hopefully do okay. Let's see him improve from last week's showing.
Right. So, I mean, when we are on defense, when Michigan's on defense, P.J. Hill, Travis Beckham, Allen Everidge. Those are 3 very, very good players, running back, tight end, quarterback, that we're going to have to try to stop.
The key with Michigan's defense coming up against Wisconsin will actually revolve around their offense. The offense has to hang on to the ball. Time of possession will be huge. You cannot let P.J. Hill in Wisconsin run all over you because running is time of possession. Wisconsin will just eat up the clock. Michigan has to do the same. They have to get first down. So far, their percentage is in like 20% as far as third down conversions. You cannot have that. Time of possession means your defense gets to rest, and when they're on the field, that's better for you. That's going to be the key to victory for the Wolverines, and that's going to make all the difference in the world.
Quickly, Michigan or Wisconsin?
Michigan.
Wisconsin. All right. Well, that does it for us on Varsity Blue. We'll see you in 2 weeks, and hopefully we'll be talking about a Michigan victory over the Wisconsin Badgers.